Let's be entirely honest with each other for a second. When did buying a video game on launch day turn into a gamble? We live in an era where $70 gets you an unoptimized beta, a roadmap of broken promises, and a digital storefront disguised as a main menu. Publishers expect us to vote with our wallets before they even deliver a finished product. It's exhausting, it's disrespectful, and frankly, it has made us cynical. But today, we're changing the narrative. I spent hours filtering through the noise of CGI trailers and marketing hype to find the games that aren't just exciting. They are actually worth full price. These 10 upcoming PS5 masterpieces respect your time, your money, and your passion. No corporate filler, just raw, undeniable value. Let's get into it. We start at number 10 with a game trying to fix a modern sin: the death of true, unforgiving role-playing. The Gothic remake. Modern RPGs love to hold your hand. They track your quests, illuminate your paths with bright yellow paint, and treat you like you've never picked up a controller. Gothic is the exact opposite. It drags you into an isolated, atmospheric convict colony and tells you to survive. What makes this worth your full $70 isn't a massive, empty map populated by question marks. It's the sheer depth of its living world. Every animal, NPC, and faction operates on a meticulous schedule. If you step into the woods unprepared at level 1, you will die. There's a raw, rewarding satisfaction in starting as absolute nobody and earning your respect piece by piece. Alchemia Interactive is keeping that brutal, old-school design intact while completely rebuilding the atmosphere from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5. This isn't nostalgic bait, it's a masterclass in world design. At number 9 is a game that looks so visually absurd, the community spent 2 years claiming it was completely fake. Crimson Desert. Pearl Abyss is stepping away from the MMO space to deliver a gritty, single-player mercenary epic. And the reason this demands a full-price entry is its physics-driven, chaotic combat engine. This isn't just basic button mashing or standard light and heavy attack loops. You are grappling enemies, utilizing the environment, wrestling monsters out of the sky, and sliding across muddy battlefields. The story follows a broken mercenary group trying to survive in a war-torn continent. It feels incredibly heavy, grounded, and intensely personal. If the developers deliver on even 80% of the systemic freedom they've showcased, where every village feels alive and every encounter behaves differently, this will set a massive new benchmark for open-world action. It's a bold gamble that looks like it will pay off spectacularly. Number 8 takes us to a place born entirely out of psychological torment: Silent Hill Townfall. Konami is making a brilliant move here by handing the keys of this legendary psychological horror franchise to Screenburn Interactive and Annapurna. Set in a desolate, fog-drenched Scottish island in 1996, Townfall completely redefines what a Silent Hill game can look like by shifting into an unsettling first-person perspective. You aren't a heavily armed action hero. You are a deeply fractured man, navigating an island that actively uses your guilt and trauma against you. The inclusion of a small handheld CRT television that glitches out to warn you of unseen entities approaching through the fog is pure psychological genius. It strips away your safety net. Horror games are often criticized for being short, but when a narrative is this deeply calculated, claustrophobic, and emotionally paralyzing, every single dollar translates into pure atmospheric art. For number 7, let's talk about a title that is carrying the literal weight of gaming history on its shoulders: Metal Gear Solid Delta: Snake Eater. Remaking a masterpiece created by Hideo Kojima is a terrifying tightrope walk. Change too much, and you ruin the soul of the game. Change too little, and it feels archaic. But Konami is approaching Delta with a level of respect that justifies its premium price point. They are keeping the exact, legendary vocal performances and structural layouts of the original 2004 classic, while fundamentally modernizing the mechanical loop. The new survival systems mean every single cut, burn, and broken bone Snake suffers leaves a permanent scar across his model for the rest of the campaign. The camouflage system now reacts dynamically to the dirt mud and water you crawl through. This isn't just a simple visual coat of paint. It is the definitive modern realization of one of the greatest tactical espionage stories ever told. It's an essential piece of gaming history, rebuilt for the hardware it always deserved. At number 6, we return to the supernatural, reality-bending halls of the oldest house. Control Resonant. Remedy Entertainment does not know how to make a boring video game. They are masters of blending psychological thrillers, live-action art, and tight gameplay mechanics. Control Resonant takes everything that made the original cult classic brilliant: the telekinetic powers, the shifting brutalist architecture, the deeply unsettling lore, and expands it into a terrifying new corporate nightmare. The budget here isn't going toward mindless, open-world filler. It's dedicated to incredible environmental destruction, mind-bending spatial puzzles, and a story that ties deeply into the interconnected Remedy universe. When you buy a Remedy game, you aren't just buying 15 hours of entertainment. You are buying an unforgettable, bizarre creative vision that sticks with you for years after the credits roll. That is exactly what makes it worth every cent. Number 5 is a pure, unadulterated injection of adrenaline. Phantom Blade Zero. This game answers a single question. What if you took the intricate world design of a Souls-like, but replaced the slow, methodical combat with blistering, high-speed cinematic kung fu? Developed by Cruel Man Studio, Phantom Blade Zero stars an elite assassin named Soul, who has been framed for murder and left with only 60 days to live. The sheer kinetic energy displayed in these sword fights is breathtaking. The parry windows, the wall-running maneuvers, and the seamless transition between traditional swords and ranged weapons look incredibly fluid. It delivers that rare, elusive power fantasy, where you don't just feel like a player inputting commands. You feel like an absolute force of nature executing a flawlessly choreographed action film. It is spectacular, fast, and incredibly satisfying. We enter the top 4 with a project that defies every standard convention of the gaming industry. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. Love it or hate it, Hideo Kojima's original Death Stranding was a defiant rejection of safe, repetitive game design. It turned the simple act of traversal into a compelling mechanical puzzle. On the Beach takes that foundation and pushes it out into completely uncharted territory. Moving beyond the remnants of America, Sam Bridges is now navigating a global network across alien landscapes, shifting terrains, and massive, catastrophic environmental events. With an eclectic, star-studded cast, breathtaking graphical fidelity, and a narrative that tackles human isolation and connection, this is a massive block of high-budget auteur art. You cannot get an experience like this anywhere else in the world. It is weird, it is beautiful, and it is undeniably worth your full investment. Number 3 brings us to the rebirth of a legendary fantasy lineage, The Witcher 4, codenamed Project Polaris. Let's address the elephant in the room. CD Projekt Red burned a massive amount of consumer trust with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. But what followed was one of the most dedicated, expensive redemption arcs in gaming history. They fixed their mistakes, completely overhauled their systems, and proved they care about their legacy. Project Polaris is built entirely on Unreal Engine 5, moving away from their internal tech to create a brand new saga in the dark fantasy universe. We are leaving Geralt's story behind to explore a new school of Witchers. The sheer narrative scale, the moral complexity of the choice systems, and the meticulous attention to dark folklore mean this game will be a massive 100-hour experience designed to absorb your entire life. CD Projekt Red knows they have everything to prove with this release, and a studio with that much hunger always delivers something unforgettable. Our runner-up is a game that fans have been desperately begging to see for over a decade: Insomniac Games' Marvel's Wolverine. Insomniac has spent years proving they are the undisputed kings of fluid superhero movement and combat on PlayStation hardware. But while Spider-Man was a joyful, soaring, bright adventure, Wolverine is a dark, gritty, mature character study. This is a full, hard, M-rated experience. It leans directly into Logan's tragic past, his isolation, his untamed rage, and his visceral, bloody combat style. Think dismemberment, complex directional parries, healing factor mechanics that actively transform gameplay, and an emotional, character-driven story that treats Logan as a broken man rather than a glossy cartoon hero. Insomniac doesn't miss, and giving them the creative freedom to create an uncompromised, adult action epic is a guaranteed recipe for a modern masterpiece. At number 1, could it honestly be anything else? Grand Theft Auto 6. There is no game on the planet that carries this level of cultural weight. Rockstar Games operates on a tier entirely of their own. They spend close to a decade developing a single project, investing billions of dollars to push the absolute limits of interactive simulation. Leonida isn't just a giant map. It is a hyper-realistic satire of modern human society. The density of the crowds, the revolutionary AI systems where every NPC has an autonomous routine, the staggering visual realism, and the criminal romance story of Lucia and Jason. It's an unprecedented entertainment event. Other publishers charge $70 for a seasonal update. Rockstar charges it for a generation-defining milestone that millions of people will play for the next 10 years. It isn't just worth the money. It makes almost every other game on the market look incredibly overpriced.